You're such
Oh my God. Good morning, wonderful people. We're laughing at something that's different today. Surprise. How's get
We're
better than
getting
that?
unstuck.
Getting unstuck. Getting the fuck out your way. Good morning, people. I can't. Oh, let me. Oh, I didn't do this. Let me. I'm sorry, people. I should do. Facebook was acting that fool this morning, so that's a come. I wasn't listening to Facebook. So there. Let me go here. Home. We'll go here. There we are live. Surprise! I heard myself. Yuck. Okay. So where is my water bottle? This just wait, guys. Give me just a couple seconds. So I maneuver my stuff so I can see y'all. Okay. There we are. How everybody doing this Monday morning?
I'm awake.
Everybody, I can't hear. I hear butterflies. Butterfly. Don't go chasing waterfalls. That song's been in my head this morning when I was driving. I was talking to my son. Uh, so you came up with this concept. I mean, we were talking every weekend. We talk about lab. We plan it out. No, we don't. We sometimes we plan it out. We have a calendar of things and we look at stuff. And mostly we just like this. I love working with talkers. This is humanoid shit. Like, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? We wrote this down. Let's do this. What do you feel? Let's go with it. So
This is very much. I got nothing.
yeah.
How do you
So
feel about being stuck?
yes, stuck. Anybody know about being stuck? What does that mean to you? Brenda, what's up? Good morning, my sister. How you doing? Uh, being stuck. What the fuck? Are you truly stuck? That's the other question when you think you're stuck. Or is it something else? What's that something, that other something else? I say that to people because a lot of times when I felt I was stuck, I was in refusal of asking another question. Now I hear some people going like, I'm not talking about access stuff. I'm just asking like when you're stuck, like, and here's the piece about it. When you get stuck, do you know you're gonna get stuck? Like, for example, I was just talking to my son and he's test driving a Tacoma truck today. And I told him, wow, that's a dope ass truck to have because it's dependable, it's a Toyota, and when you look like you're gonna get stuck, you can throw it in four-wheel drive and you can just get out of it. So how many of us go down the road of living and never throw ourselves into four-wheel drive so we get unstuck or we don't get stuck at all because we see it coming. We see the road, the terrain changing in front of us, but we don't do anything to downshift, shift, or change the gears in our vehicle of call us to be able to be in another place. I mean, I'm always asking that of myself. Did I know that I was going to get stuck and I chose to get stuck? And that's kind of weird. If you really choose to get stuck, what is that about? Or do you get stuck so that you don't have to go any further? Because if you go further, you'll be breaking new rules and new situations and scenarios, and shit changes when you decide to do that. I just always ask the question. Uh, I realized that there are two classes that I want to take through Access Conscious. One is in Rome, and the other one's in South Africa. And uh, yesterday, I was like, I want to go here, I want to go here, I want to go here. And I was like, but why isn't the energy changing around it? When I went on the site, I forgot to register. And so getting unstuck sometimes is choosing something in advance so you can see your target. And so you start asking the universe to come around it and help create something so that this can be a reality. And a lot of people don't realize that. And since then, I was like, okay, I'm gonna see how the universe shows up. Let me see what the universe chooses for me. What would it look like if the universe is able to do this for me?
That brings up so much for me, but I'm gonna start with something that it reminded me of that seems off topic, but I'm gonna roll with it. So back in the day when I was faux Christian, I wasn't Christian anymore, but I do still hang out with the Unity Church. I love
Mhm.
Unity. But it's a church where tarot readings have happened in the foyer,
Yes.
and they teach from all the texts. We are
Yes.
not just teaching from the King James Version of the Christian Bible.
Yeah.
Um, but
But some people say it
Edwin
was Shakespeare, but that's a side note. But go ahead.
Edwin Gaines is a spiritual teacher. She's also a Unity minister, and she
Hmm.
wrote a book called The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity. And in that book, she tells the story of a woman who registered for this event that she was hosting. It was a cruise where
Hmm.
she was going to see Halley's Comet, and the best place to see it was in the middle of one of the oceans.
Yes.
So she booked out a cruise. She needed to sell 30 spots on this cruise to get her spot for free, and hired an astrologer and like the whole thing. This lady, it was $1,000 deposit,
Hmm.
and paid in full had to be at some point before the event.
Right.
And this lady hands her a check. This is my deposit. I'm going on that cruise.
Hmm.
And at the break for the event, Edwin checked the check to make sure she had a phone number and like address and everything she needed. And the check was for like $50 or some wild, not $1,000
Yeah.
number. And the lady, Edwin was like, I don't think you understood. And the lady was like, oh no, I understand. That is my deposit. I'm
Uh-huh.
going on that cruise. So this goes on for the like the whole time. Like the deadline has come and gone for this lady to pay for this cruise.
Hmm.
And Edwina is like, I'm packing my bags to go on the cruise. And I realize that I still have this lady's money. And she's like, I'm not going to be bothered with her money. I'll deal with it when I get back. I'll send her a refund. When somebody who paid in full on like day one called her and said, I can't go, I know that there's no way for me to get any kind of a refund. Do you know anybody who I can gift my spot to?
That.
And she called the lady and was like, you will not believe. And the lady cut her off and was like, oh, honey, I already know. I'm already packed.
Yeah. That is the real shit I'm talking about. I'm right now. I'm teaching. Uh, and this is a segue. So I'm teaching them how to become money workbook.
Yeah.
And I met somebody out of the blue on the other side of the U.S. who heard about me, and she called me and she said she wanted to be part of this How to Become Money workbook. It's 10 sessions. It's an hour and a half each Saturday morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. And we're reading through this book called How to Become Money Workbook by Gary Douglas. But that's just the map. I use that book as a map. The rest of the journey is the adventure of being money. This sister called me like the day before, a week before, and gave me her story. She was, oh, she listened to a week ago. She was on here. I take it back. And she heard it. And so she hit me up right afterwards. What's up, She Spies? What's up, my sister? Uh, and in the process of doing it, she said to me some stuff and it hit me. And it was the same energy. And so I want to say to people also with the story that my sister Lila, and Lila told me this before, and that's how come I changed the way I do business. In my business, when I do classes, I ask the universe to tell me if this person is worthy of payment plans. Because sometimes people have, and this one sister, she changed my world. And this week, like this past weekend, an hour before we were on the phone, she said, "Look, I'm about to jump in," and she left, knowing she said, "This is we gonna change some shit." That's how you get unstuck. You have to be willing to choose something when everybody else think, "Are you crazy? A $50 check? It's $1,000. What are you talking about?" No, I will be there. When you
Yeah.
tell the universe you will be there, the
Yeah.
universe will show up somehow.
Yeah.
You just, and here's the piece about it. We were talking about the same sister was talking about this. And when you get to the point where you stop being surprised when it shows up, more of that type of unstuckness shows up and you can create more. Once you understand, once you get beyond the perceive what you think is shock. See, that's the thing that there's another sister that told me another story, and everything looks against her. And when I hear those type of stories, this is what I really it seems against. I have a sister that's powerful as fuck in California, and she's going through some stuff. She before she joined the class, her job went poof, and she still jumped on. Somebody brought her some coffee when she was at work. When she started, somehow she was talking about the and somebody is simple guess. The universe is designed to aid us in everything. We got to be willing to fucking ask. We got to be
It's so
willing to ask.
interesting because like this is my topic. And I'm over here like, and I was unstuck there, and I was unstuck there, and I was unstuck there. Like when you're talking about things just showing up, I didn't
Yeah,
know how I was gonna keep my house last year.
yeah, yep,
$12,000 just landed in my lap.
yep. Always. Oh, and here's the piece about it. Ugh, I want to throat punch myself because I do it all the time, y'all. So when I talk about stuff, I am real time, like prime time. Deion Sanders, I'm real time. Okay, and there's certain times in my life where I stop and I become pathetic. I become that weak ass bitch, and I don't go back and ask a question that would be willing to get me out of my own way to create more. Because this is the thing, this is shh, here's the secret, y'all. There's a part about this that we might like, that we surprised that we like that shit. Of being it's like, can I say this? I know it's Monday morning. I hope there's no little kids here. Put the fingers in the kids. Sometimes you like badass sex. You like it. Yeah, my sister Lila making a face for y'all. You like that
What do you mean bad?
because you keep going back to badass sex and you get mad because you hope it gets better, but you're not willing to choose anything greater. Ooh,
Um, I was thinking about something different, but yeah,
okay.
yeah.
There you go. Okay, Prince, your dirty mind.
I did go immediately to Existential Kink by Carolyn Elliott. It is a book. Check it out if you haven't read it. It's actually not about sex,
Yeah,
oddly enough.
yeah.
Um, but yeah,
But you got to be willing to get out of the way. And a lot of people aren't willing to get out there. That's our title this morning. Stuck. Get out. Are you not willing to get out of your way? And it's not. And it's because, you know, how many people? It's Monday morning. How many people took the same way to work this morning? Had the same cup of coffee in the same mug. Went to the same coffee shop. Put on the same damn Monday morning clothes. And then got upset because something ain't different. You got to choose something fucking different to create and get out the way.
and it can be that small. It can be as small as I took a different route to work.
Yeah,
I put on Tuesday's outfit instead of Monday's.
yeah,
Um, my phone rang. My phone rang 2 weeks ago, and I'm a compulsive. Like the phone rings, I answer it like full on Pavlovian response. Like
yeah,
I don't stop and go, do I actually have the capacity to talk?
yeah,
Do I want to talk to this person? John and I and Susan, I'm pretty much going to answer the phone whenever it rings if I hear it ring. But like, I
morning to me.
haven't spoken to this person in years, actually. We were texting back and forth. And then 2 weeks later, I just randomly get a phone call from this person.
Yeah,
So I'm sitting there with my phone in my hand. I'm listening to an audiobook and my phone rings and I go, absolutely not. My daughter was like, you don't want to talk to them? And I was like, no. She goes, who is it? And I was like, this person. And she was like, oh, like, that's weird that you don't want to talk to them. But it's also new to me to be like, do I have the capacity for this conversation? No,
yes,
I don't have the capacity for a conversation. So I'm just going to let my phone ring.
yeah. And
which is
and
me
that's
choosing something different.
choosing that choice. See, to get out your way, you have to choose. You have to choose. You have to choose. We're in a multiple choose universe. You just have to choose. The
And you can
universe.
always choose again, friends.
What's that?
You can always choose again.
Yeah, yeah. And here's the piece about it. And this is the piece about it. How many of you all have cats out there? If you have a cat, watch how cat be cat-like. Cats will change their mind on a dime. Would you be willing to be that space? Now, people ask, like, a lot of times talk about, so how do you get out of this? You choose, and you keep on choosing, and you keep on choosing, and you keep on choosing. You look up the sky and you want to look at something that gives you an example of choices. Look at the sky on a clear night and see the multiple stars. That's how many choices you got. Count them. When then choose again. You just have to fucking be willing to choose.
And
This is
here's
not.
the other thing. Let me continue preaching to myself. Um, when you feel stuck in one area, and like truly, like really, I have tried everything, like for real, change something else in another area of your life
Yeah,
because that bleed over is the only word in my head right now. But it's the how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you feel
yeah,
stuck here, change something over here. Rearrange
yeah,
the furniture in your house. Donate something to charity. Do something different with your money
yeah.
and watch that area that you feel stuck in change.
Absolutely. And here's the other piece with it. Give yourself grace. Show yourself grace. This is the other piece about choice. Be either patient or impatient with it, but show yourself grace. Decide how fast you want to go. Some days you go faster than other days. Just choose. And that's one of the things about stuckness. It and then are you willing to ask questions of the stuckness? Like what the fuck is that? What was that? Why do I do things like that? What's another choice that I can make? I mean, it's just, and
Mhm.
then sometimes sitting with silence and allowing things to actually show up. Just you sit with silence. Sometimes, and people like a lot of people get like, have you noticed that if you were with somebody and they so quiet to respond, you say, "What's up? What's going on?" And sometimes, like, here's something with me. Some guy, if you guys come to some of my classes online or in person, I'm talking, and all of a sudden, I'm deer in headlights. Like, and I'm okay with it. In the past, I would be embarrassed by that because it's silence. When I was, I'm a media communication major in college years ago from Rockhurst University in Kansas City, Missouri, and it was I had a professor, Mr. Ryan, who always told me that 3 seconds silence is eternity in the media, and I realized that
Go ahead.
that's true for this reality. But those of us who float in different realities and are comfortable with those different realities realize that sometimes if you're silent long enough, something shows up and an answer will come to you. Some entity might reveal it, your creator will reveal it, prayer will reveal it, but something happens in that silence. Sometimes you need, and that's why the whole concept of retreating makes sense too. How many times do you spend time retreating? You and I talked about this one time on the show about if you got kids, once in a while you need to get away from them motherfuckers. And you love them. I know I'm supposed to say that. I know people get all defensive about that. Too bad.
They'll be all right.
Everybody,
This is
the
not the
song says
audience for
everybody
that.
needs a break a day. Everybody, once in a while, everybody need a break.
Yeah. Um, you said 3 seconds is an eternity. So, uh, for people with that developed people pleasing as a coping mechanism
Hmm.
and that have like a fawn trauma response,
Hmm.
to pause for 7 seconds before you respond to a request. 7 seconds feels like
Mhm,
I'm going to fall into a hole and die.
mhm,
But the part of your brain that developed that trauma response, um, it's in such a hurry to please,
mhm.
so it stays alive and stays safe, that is the interrupt for it. That
Yeah,
pause, that lengthy seeming pause, is the interrupt for it.
yeah, absolutely.
It
And
does
that's
seem
why
like forever.
it does seem like that. And that's because we're not. And here's the piece about it. I have a brother on. I don't know if he's here this morning. I have a brother that we talk about meditation on the Majestic. I talk to you about him a lot. And a lot of times, what I realize is that we're so dysfunctional because we don't like spending time with self and reflecting. Sometimes that self time allows you to get out of your own judgments. Choose. My mind is
You're
fucking blown.
welcome, love.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sometimes uh, that that time down will create a space, to create a wonderful space of multitude of other possibilities that you have never ever imagined. So here's some people watching this today, and if you watch this in the future, what would it take for you to give yourself 15 minutes a day? Even if there's someone you sitting on the commode in the bathroom when you, because sometimes I know we got kids, we got other activities. What if you could just schedule yourself
Just
some
sit
time?
on the floor in the shower.
Yes. Just sit there and be at one with yourself so that you can focus and find out if you're really truly stuck or are there other things. Sometimes things are holding you back until you address another thing. Sometimes you're in funky ass relationships and it does not allow you to be at peace. So you stuck because your body and your being are looking at each other like, when is this motherfucker gonna choose something different so we can be at peace?
Yeah.
And it's not, and then here's the piece: there's no wrongness to this. Because if you hear me saying this, you that's not the point. That might be the impact, but the point of it is that would you be willing to be another space? And sometimes it happens in small retreats and large retreats. Those small retreats are that, and sometimes you'd be like, oh my God, 15 minutes is an eternity. After the first 2 minutes, you're like, or maybe some of us, the first 30 seconds, you're like, oh my God, I got 14 and a half, 14 minutes and 30 seconds left of this. What am I going to do? You actually just sit there and ask your body, what do you want to do? And here's the piece about it. And this is going to sound like some sex stuff, but it's not. Would you be willing to play with yourself? Not sexually. Because I know some people, when I said that, I heard myself saying, I was like, this is not going to come out right. But anyway, what my point of it is, would you be willing to sit with yourself and be willing to create nest? I'm amazed with my three children. I have three beautiful children, and they teach me stuff all the time. They don't even know that they're teaching me stuff. Uh, Talking about being stuck. Sometimes you ask the universe to show you, oh, this is a secret. When you wake up in the morning, the universe, show me how to get unstuck. The universe, show me how people see me stuck. My son did this for me just a couple of weeks ago, and he's doing it every day because he drives 40 minutes to work every morning. He calls me in the morning before he gets to work. And what he did not know is sometimes I'm stuck, but by having a conversation with him and him saying stuff about dad, with like this, when you said this and you did this, and I realized I have been a catalyst, that's the word I'm looking like, for him to make some other choices and for my daughters to make other choices. And I didn't realize it. So where have you not paid attention to the other? Have you been a catalyst to other that if you start to ask the universe to show you stuff, it blesses you with, see this genius? Check this out. And there's more of where this comes from. You
That's
got to
right.
be willing to go there.
I want to say if 15 minutes really sounds like torture and you cannot find it in your calendar, start with one.
Yeah, that.
Start with one and grow it.
Yeah, yeah,
Start at the smallest terrifying amount of
yes.
time for you. You'll
Okay,
get
let me
there.
say this. I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna be that soft on you. Start with 30 and add just 1 minute to it. Start with 30 seconds and add 1 minute to it. And this is why. I think, and I'm gonna turn into a pumpkin real quick, but I have a couple things. But here's the piece about when I was younger, I went to the St. Clotilde school. We didn't have a gym, and we had to go swimming, and we had swim lessons. And I've been swimming. My mom and dad had me swimming forever, but I was so fearful of the unknown in water that I refused to jump in the deep end. And at the end of a class, Mrs. Harvey, never forgot it, this is the lady who taught me a lot of stuff about living through swimming classes. She put a towel on the edge of the diving board. And she had this long wooden stick when people were swimming that they could reach out to it and they could grab it. They panicked. And so she said, "Hey Johnny," that's what they call me in Chicago. "Hey Johnny, would you get my towel off the jumping board, diving board?" I said, "Sure." I was like, I had to be like maybe in sixth grade. So my little thick body, because I always been kind of thick and cute, I went over there and I grabbed the towel and I bent over to get the towel. And as I bent over, she took the little stick and she just poked me, and my balance went off and I went sploosh. And she smiled and waved at me, and I was like, "Ah, ah, ah, ah." She said, "Would you swim?" And would you swim over to me so we could talk about this? And then I was like, I started kicking, and my body went like this, and I just went to the wall, and I was like, "Oh, snap." I went back from the wall to the middle to deep. I went down. I came back. I became a dolphin. My point of it is when you think you can't get someplace, you're not really stuck. This ugly thing that we talked about before, fear shows up, and and it's deceptive, and it takes you away from your superpowers. That's all I got to say about that, if that makes sense. But so that's what I'm asking to put on a few more seconds or minutes to whatever you decide.
Yeah, because you're a pumpkin now, we'll continue this conversation in the future.
Yes, 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 yes. I got some things I want to share with people that I really would like to share this coming weekend. If you're local, or even if you're not local, you can find in your own space. There's International Access Conscious Bars Day, and I'm hosting. If you're in the Portland area, northwest part of the U.S., which is pretty much Washington, Oregon, my wife and I are doing a pop, which means we're having people come over for a bars class. If you need a bars class, if you want to just do bars here secretly, if you want to get your bars run twice and run twice for somebody else, and I'm cooking food at lunchtime, you can actually come and hang out with me like that. This phone, okay, there. That you can do that, or the next day I'm doing bars for people who've never had bars because it's International Bars Day, and I'm doing that there. And so I'm running bars for people, and I'm exchanging bars on Sunday. So this whole weekend, if you're in the Northwest, check a brother out. If you're interested, if you know somebody in the area, send them my way. You hit me on YouTube or Facebook. And then I'm coming to Chicago on the 4th and the 5th, and I'm teaching how to become Being You
Being
Money
you
class on
money.
Friday night at like 7 o'clock in the Chicago area. It's on the west side. I'm begging people to consider to come check this class out. And the next day is going to be a being beauty and a body process class that Sarah's doing. I'm going to be present for that, just helping her out with that. Uh, I'm excited. I'm excited because I get to come back home and do what I love. And I'm gonna see my folks while I'm there, and I'm gonna see this beautiful sister for the first time. You would think we've known each other forever, but we've never met in person. Thank God for internet.
I'm so
So,
excited. So
so yeah.
excited.
So that I hope everybody's having a nice Monday morning, and a minute and 30 seconds today for you guys. We could hard, and for you want to jump off the cliff, let's see how much longer you can do it. Love you, beautiful people. Thank you,
Bye,
Lila, for the
friends.
idea for today. And y'all stay magical. Well, do me a favor. Be kind to yourself and other people as you see them. Peace.